In today's video, for my lettersfromasoldier.com website and my GoFundMe, which I'm trying to get some funds to help improve the site, this project that I have worked on for 17 years, and I'd like to continue it more, but it takes a lot of time, energy, and money to do so, and so far I've done it on very little funds outside of myself. Well, the Letters from a Soldier site, when you go to the home page, and it will be on my YouTube there, brings you to the home page with that handsome uncle of mine, Edward Thomas, who became a tech sergeant when he finished World War II. Today is going to be about Vietnam, and there's a link at the top, Vietnam. I click it, and it goes to James Fortune, who was a soldier that wanted to go to Vietnam, went to Vietnam, was discharged. It's a long story. The table of contents changes to Vietnam here. The particular page, Igloo White, is of interest to me today. This book I got at a discontinued book, Port Huron Schools, and it was very interesting to me because I'm kind of a nerd. It's called Nerd. So what better book for a nerd to read than the Nerds. And this Igloo White was my attempt to show how the internet had maybe a start back in Vietnam days. The pictures are of interest here. Paul Utley, a Belgian peace activist, in 1934 developed a radiated library concept. I really like to learn more about this man, but he is considered like the father of today's internet. Back in the 60s, scientists with government funds, the Rand Corporation was a big receiver of funds, developed the ARPANET, and the acronym ARPA are the initials of the Advanced Research Projects Agency. Dr. J.C.R. Licklider, a psychologist, became very interested in computers, worked at MIT, became involved with SAGE, Semi-Automatic Ground Environment Defense Project, which used radar to help defend America. Licklider wanted computer scientists to develop computers to help people. And I think that's a noble cause. Time sharing went on in the 60s, especially with IBM mainframe computers, which were expensive. People shared using computer time. I did that at Michigan State, wrote programs in Fortran, turned them in. The next day I come back and pick up my results. My grade depended on whether I got the right result. It didn't often work. My grade would go from an A to a C easily if I made too many mistakes. Back in the 60s, the Rand Corporation started working with distributed networks, that early concept from Utley, and developed these models, the distributed network right here. The centralized way of doing business just didn't work. You break down in the middle here, your whole network goes down. Whereas in the distributed network, a node goes out, and you can still go around it. That's the way our internet works today. A big guy in the Vietnam War era was Robert McNamara. He would be the Secretary of Defense during the Vietnam War. Smart man. He was a whiz kid. Henry Ford recruited for Ford Motor Company, became CEO of the Ford Motor Company before he was pulled to be Defense Secretary. He helped develop what was called Igloo White, a top secret project from 1968 to 1972, which was kind of like the earliest use of an internet, in my opinion. This picture is the famous Ho Chi Minh Trail, part of in the woods, and actually it paralleled Vietnam through Laos, Cambodia into Vietnam. But it was how supplies from the North Vietnamese, who were our enemy during the conflict, transported their supplies down to South Vietnam, where the war was being fought against, and lots of weapons were found along that trail. Well, the idea was to drop sensors. This picture shows a little sensor dropped from airplanes, and then down here the airplanes would pick up information from the sensors, like moving trucks and things, so they could, defend and stop the supplies from being moved. Then it was processed in Thailand, hundreds of miles away, in this huge computer center. Quite sophisticated back in those days. Actually, you can read more on it. Do want to support me, go to my GoFundMe page. I will post it, and I thank you very much.